Bereaved families of frontline NHS workers could be in danger of losing out on welfare benefits if they accept any compensation offered by the government. Under the scheme, a £60,000 one-off payment is available for relatives of those who died on the front line. But it'll be treated as capital, meaning that many families will end up being over the threshold for means-tested benefit payments. Now, this could include universal credit, housing benefit and pension credit. The Labour Party says that such families shouldn't be forced to choose between compensation or welfare payments.
Health and social care workers are putting their lives on the line to care for coronavirus patients, often without the proper equipment, and many have sadly lost their lives as a result. The government was right to say we must honour those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. So it is shocking that families are being forced to choose between accessing social security they are entitled to or the compensation they need. This must change so that families can grieve in peace with the full support they have every right to expect.
Since the start of the pandemic, around 500 frontline NHS workers are believed to have died as a result of COVID-19. But government figures show only a fraction of families have actually received a payout, just 30. As of mid-August, more than 100 claims have been made. None so far have been rejected, while the government says that the welfare system exists to support families that are most in need.
The death of any healthcare worker is a tragedy. Since it began in May, the Life Assurance Scheme has already provided additional financial security to families of frontline NHS and social care workers in England who have died due to coronavirus. It has always been one of the central principles of universal credit that decisions on awarding the benefit should take into account individuals' existing ability to meet their basic needs, so that we maintain our focus on supporting families in most need.
To discuss the compensation situation, I'm now joined by communicable disease control expert Dr. Bharat Pankania. Bharat, what do you make of this? Should bereaved families be forced to make the choice between compensation and their benefits?
No, not at all. That's very unfortunate. It took a long time for the representative bodies of all the healthcare workers to negotiate this with the government, and then to subsequently find that it is going to be treated as capital is a step backwards. It should just be a payment. And we must remember, people die as a result of being there in the front line, saving lives, and often in circumstances where they're working with inadequate PPE. So they are really, truly, honestly putting themselves very much in the front line, in danger, and their loved ones should not be also penalised just because they've received a £60,000 payment.
Do you know of any families of NHS workers in this situation?
I do know of my fellow doctors. It's very, very painful to hear that they died, but I'm not aware of their claims status and things like that. It just is really painful for them to even bother claiming at this point in time.
This is exactly what they don't need when they're grieving, is it, for
Indeed. Indeed.
Now, the government says, though, that the system needs to help those in need. And, of course, if you have £60,000 in the bank, they would argue that you don't actually need welfare payments.
I can hear them. My counter-argument is this: you have lost a breadwinner, you have lost a loved one, you have lost potential income. £60,000 does not go very far in our current world, and therefore it just is a payment for somebody who has put their lives in the front line. It should not therefore be further penalised with, you've got capital, we're not going to help you. If this comes to be, what will happen is then healthcare workers may make a choice to say, you know what, come to think about it, I don't want to put myself in the front line. That would be also a negative backward step.
Do you think, though, that frontline workers are now better prepared if they do have to face the similar crisis, a similar crisis, as they did when COVID really reached its peak in this country?
I hope so. I hope lessons have been learned. I have no evidence either way to show me that we've got adequate PPE or that we haven't got adequate PPE. Time will tell. But really, one important thing I would like to add is, in the early stages, we were making up the PPE guidelines to adjust for the shortage of PPE. We shouldn't do that. We need the adequate PPE, and the PPE guidelines should stand alone. I hope that we have got enough PPE come the winter months.
Will the government be listening to the likes of you, people from the medical world about this in terms of the compensation issue throughout the pandemic? We have seen the government make U-turns in a number of policies. Do you think this could be one of them, perhaps, if you put pressure on them?
I think it is only a natural justice that this is a payment for putting yourself in the front line, in the service of the nation, in a pandemic, an unprecedented pandemic. And therefore, you wouldn't want to give on the one hand and take away on the other hand. It just doesn't feel right. Therefore, the best thing to do would be give it, and give it willingly without restrictions.
Dr. Bharat Pankania, thank you for joining us live on RTUK.
Thank you.